Okay. Bhante, in the same way that the six sense bases do not and cannot share each other's domain, isn't it true that mentality and materiality don't share domains either? Which would mean, since materiality, the body, can't know because it doesn't have a mind, and the mind can't sense physical objects because it doesn't have a body, then the mind is only ever knowing mental objects, mental actions, thoughts, and not ever knowing physically appearing things. That's a long question. Did you understand that?
Yes,
Mind
can know the materiality as well as mentality, because everything must go through the mind for to make sense to one who has six senses. For instance, when I hear a sound is actually a material thing. Sound is material because it comes through the air, hits the eardrum, and then goes to the brain, and then convert its meaning. It is high pitch, low pitch, and so on. All the variety of changes in the sound, mind knows, and therefore what is material, mind knows whatever materiality is, form, feeling, and so forth. We know only through words, sound, touch, smell, and therefore you cannot have sound without consciousness. You may have ear, sounds are there, and if you are totally your ear faculty doesn't work at all, you cannot know the sound. But as long as you have faculties in good condition, as soon as you hear a sound, immediately mind knows all about the sound. And therefore, mind is the chief, mind is the leader, mind is the Lord, and therefore no materiality can know the mind, but mind can know materiality. Yeah.
Sadhu Bhante, thank you.
You're welcome. That is why in the triangle, mentality, materiality, and consciousness. Consciousness contact with materiality as well as mentality. It communicates with both.
Okay, here's a question. Bhante, if after death only conscious with its craving and tendencies go to next rebirth, what about the other aggregates like rupa?
Rupa ends here. Only this, when we say consciousness goes to another life, that also is wrong. We answered similar questions earlier sometimes. The greed ignorance combined together commit karma, and this karma is Buddha said, Kammang Kettang Vijnanam Bijang Tanna Sineho. Karma is the field, Vijnana is the seed, and craving is the moisture, water. This combination generates another state to take rebirth. If you read Ratana Sutta, Buddha said at the moment of rebirth, these three are present, but not the same three things as we have here, but they are a sort of replica. I cannot, it is very difficult to explain in terms of anything material, because this is not a material transaction. So this consciousness does not go there. Nothing from this life as such goes there, but due to this consciousness and karma and greed and ignorance, another life appears. To give a very crude simile, when you send a fax, your letter is here in your printer. The fax goes there through electronic means. These days we send emails. Email is in a computer, but through electronic, it goes to other places. These are very crude material examples. In the first process of rebirth, not even that kind of material thing goes from this life to that life through any electronic means. It is just at the moment of death, your mind sees the place that you are going to take rebirth. That instant, you die, and then that memory, that thought, that image you created in your mind will appear there. That is how it happens. So in that, for instance, in this life, you don't want to be born in a very painful, low state of existence, but you prepare yourself doing wrong things. All kind of wrong things you commit in this life, and you prepare the mind, whether you like it or not, after that. That is the kind of thought that arises in your mind. And that moment, those things that you did not like before, you like. The mind likes, because mind has already been conditioned to take birth in that particular place. So that instant, the new consciousness arises, depending on what you have thought in this life.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you. Another question?
I think it's time for meditation.
Oh, really?
Would you mind passing me a pen, please? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we can start our evening session of meditation, starting with Metta, as we do every day, as I repeatedly mentioned earlier, we repeat the same recital instructions for all of us to follow, whether you are advanced meditator or beginner. These instructions would help all of you to do your practice. So let us begin with Metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As the mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this very wholesome, clean, pure practice of metta, reciting of metta, we begin our practice with very utmost sincerity, wishing all beings to be peaceful, happy, and healthy. We take few breaths to notice the sensation of breathing, and then as breath comes and goes, or inhale and exhale, we begin to notice the beginning, middle, and end of each inhaling and a pause, and then the beginning, middle, and end of each exhaling and a pause. Noticing these steps, we breathe in and out without verbalizing, conceptualizing, or thinking of what we have done in the past, what we are going to do afterward. We don't think of any of these things. We exclusively pay attention to the process of breathing. And then, along with the breath, we feel the breath, we perceive the breath, we pay attention to the breath, and we are conscious of the breath. Although the breath is going on and on, until we are conscious, until we pay attention, we would not know all these places like beginning, middle, and end of each inhaling, beginning, middle, and end of each exhaling, and so on. We would not know. When we pay attention, all this becomes very clear to us, and then we stay with that until we manage to overcome our hindrances, greed, resentment, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry, and doubt. When these all subside naturally and we remain alert, awake, without falling asleep, the breath becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. The body becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. then mind becomes calm, relaxed and peaceful, and then we gain concentration. When we gain concentration, we see what we mentioned earlier. We can see them even more clearly, and there is nothing static, nothing fixed. Everything is in a state of flux, changing, changing, changing. But don't verbalize changing, but mentally be aware of these changes. With this, we continue to sit and till this short session is over when we hear the bell. Dukkha jani dukkha, bhaya jani bhaya, soka jani soka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grief be free from grief. So too may all living beings. With this very pure, clean state of mind, supported by metta practice, mindfulness and concentration, we want to wish once again all those victims of COVID-19, and we all return to normal health and get back to their regular daily activities, and all those health specialists, doctors, nurses, and their helpers, those facilitated them and supported them in many different ways to make their work easy, with the wonderful, noble intention of seeing recovery of all these patients and getting back to their regular life. And we very sincerely want to wish all of them peace, happiness, and freedom from this suffering, and live long in very good health. With this, I want to open the short period of time for to answer questions.
Okay, Bhante, what is the difference between the joy experienced in a jhanic state and joy passadhi in the 7 factors of enlightenment?
Joy in the factors of enlightenment, piti, and that is to passadhi. Piti in jhana and piti in Bhojjanga are the same. In Bhojjanga, jhana piti is more geared to gaining concentration. Piti in factors of enlightenment is also geared to tranquility, passadhi. There is no much difference between these two. One is a factor of enlightenment, and it helps gaining tranquility, passadhi, and piti in jhana also eventually leads to gaining concentration. Passadhi leads to concentration. Piti in jhana also leads to concentration. Since these states are not any excitement, but they are calming, soothing mental state, both Jhanic Piti and Bhojjanga Piti.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bhante, I think you've been asked this question many times, but of course we have a new audience here, and I can relate to the question myself. The other day, I believe you said that noticing sensations with the body in a sweeping method was unsuitable. Could you please explain this? I have attended Goenka retreats where this method is taught and would like it clarified.
I did not say unsuitable. I said, if you remember what I said, is limited, and you have to deliberately create the sensation or bring the sensation to various parts of the body from top to toes. But what the Buddha mentioned in the Satipatthana Sutta and Kayagata Sati Sutta and so forth, that when feeling arises, only when the feeling arises, be mindful of that feeling. That feeling can arise on the top of your head, on the forehead, in the stomach, hand, legs, or wherever. Any particular sensation or feeling arises, be mindful of it and see whether that is a pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling, or the feeling related to material things or the feeling related to spiritual things, carnal pleasure or spiritual pleasure. So these distinctions we must see when we pay attention to the feeling. The sweeping method also works for people to stay with the body, with the feeling, and you have to create it or bring it from one point to the next point to the next and so on in order for you to have of sensation. But that is his own particular invention. I would rather say what we want to practice is the feeling, pay attention to the feeling as it arises. That is always the case. Anupassana, I mentioned, means seeing what is there, what arises. If somebody is comfortable with that sweepy method, I don't say that is wrong, but that is incomplete, and that is you have to go to one particular place and sit and focus your mind on the breathing and stay in that position in that place for certain period of time and so on. The kind of feeling that the Buddha mentioned is that you can practice anywhere, in any posture, any time, as it arises. While you are walking, you feel, you become aware of that feeling. When you take shower, you feel, you can experience that feeling and pay attention to whatever you are engaged in any activity. Feeling arises and be mindful of that feeling.
Thank you, Bhante.
Mm-hmm.
Another question. Do some Buddhist chantings such as Bhojjanga, Piritha, and Girimannada Sutta have a power of prevention of disease or healing? In such case, what are the effects of Ratana Sutta?
Well, the Bhojjanga, there are 3 Bhojjangas, all were recited when the Buddha, Mahamoggalana, and Kassapa was sick, for them to get cured, because they all have attained enlightenment and they knew the very essence of these Bhojjangas. Every part of the Bhojjanga perfectly well they understood, and then focusing their mind while reciting, they got healed. And Ratana Sutta was chanted to drive away various evil spirits and make people healthy. Now the Ratana Sutta contemplate on the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and especially for people who are very pious, they even may not have attained any state of enlightenment, and they can listen to it and contemplate the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. That way they got cured. In the Bhojjangas, Bhojjanga is a typical meditation subject. When you meditate, you see this sati, dhamma, vicaya, viriya, piti, passadhi, samadhi, upekka. You can develop through the practice of meditation. So, therefore, those who have attained those stages of enlightenment, like the Buddha and Mahakassapa and so forth, then they were able to see it very, very clearly how these things develop, and they were very delighted to see the Dhamma in their own personal life, and therefore they got cured. The other one is more devotional type, to know the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and that is for general public without attaining any state of enlightenment. If somebody has attained enlightenment when they were sick, that is a different case. They also are included. But this is the difference.
Thank you, Bhante. Uh, what is the Dhamma Chaku or Dhamma eye?
Dhammachaku is yang kinchi samudaya sabbantan niro dhamma is the Dhammachaku. See, whatever is subject to arising is subject to passing away. Seeing this with wisdom is Dhammachaku. Wisdom, I or Dhamma, I or Dhamma. So this is another name for wisdom. When we see the reality of something that arises is subject to passing away, and seeing this very clearly without any doubt or any question is called Dhammachaku. Yang kinchi samudaya dhammam, Dhammachakkung udapadi, yang kinchi samudaya dhammam, sabbanta nirodhamma. Whatever is of the nature of arising also is of the nature of passing away. In other words, impermanence.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The Buddha recommended meditating on the kaya or the body. How do we start doing contemplation of 32 parts of the body meditation?
Okay, when you practice meditation on the body, you can select one of the 6 groups in the Satipatthana Sutta. The 6 groups are mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of posture, mindfulness of clear comprehension, mindfulness of the 32 parts of the body, mindfulness of the 4 elements, mindfulness of the 9 stages of corpse. Now, you select one of these 6. That is how you practice it. You can select one of them. If you practice mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of breathing, if you can develop your mind to see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness of the breathing, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness while you are in practicing anapana, you can reach the same highest level of enlightenment. If you do not see that, you not attain that state, you can use the next part, mindfulness of the posture. So each of the 6 parts of the mindfulness of the body is a subject by itself. So Buddha has given the whole series of subjects for people to choose. One does not have to practice all of them. If one knows all of them, one can choose one of them and practice. So when you are, say for instance, you feel you are very lustful, greedy, some temperaments are like that. And then you decide, well, I want to practice mindfulness of the 32 parts of the body. You practice that. Then you will see this entire body is changing all the time, there is nothing different from your body and others' bodies. Everybody has the same parts. The same thing happened to all these 32 parts of every person. So, no one person is different from another. No one person has more parts than the other. No one person's parts remain static and fixed and doesn't change. Everything is changing. When you see this, your mind becomes very calm, relaxed, peaceful. Your agitation, excitement, resentment, and all these will subside. You gain insight into rising and falling, and will have Dhamma Chakku.
Sadhu, Bhante. I think it's time to wind down for the night.
Time to wind down. Okay. And friends, I'm glad that you people came, and I hope to see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you and many more. And for now, I must say good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
you, Bhante.
Bhante, thank you.
so much.
Bhante.
See you
Bhante.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.